The next chapter is about site survey tools, what you need to carry while doing a site survey. So keep all these things handy before you go on site and perform the survey. We'll discuss about the indoor site survey tool to begin with, and then we'll walk into the outdoor ones. The first and the foremost is you need a spectrum analyzer. We have already discussed about the needs of a spectrum analyzer, where you need to do check the RF interference source, right? You need to do this. The second thing you need is, of course, the blueprint. That is also known as floor plans of the areas you want to survey. So extremely critical. The third is the signal strength measurement software. Signal strength measurement software. I use Ekahau. It could be Ekahau or Air Magnet or any other third-party software as well that can be used for this purpose. You also can use, or you need an access point. When you're doing an AP on a stick, you need an access point which you can mount, or maybe two. One or two should be more than enough for you to do a survey. You mount the access point on the tripod, and then you can walk around and do the AP on a stick site survey, right? So access point is critical. Carry a battery pack with you for the access point. Carry a battery pack or two battery packs, because when you mount the access point on a tripod, you need to power it up somehow, and you cannot power it up using an adapter, because you cannot walk around, keep walking around with the to find a plug to put the adapter in. So you carry a battery pack with you, which you can actually adjust or attach to the tripod itself, and with the AP mounted on the tripod, the battery pack attached somewhere like this. So what I do is, I usually, let's say this is an AP connected on a tripod, okay, like this. The AP will be mounted somewhere here, but I would attach a battery right here with the black tape or electric tape to get things going. So let me just erase that for now. But a battery pack is always essential when you're doing an AP on a stick and walking around with the AP on the tripod. The next thing that you need is binoculars. It might be questionable, but as to why do we need binoculars in an indoor site survey. But in tall warehouses, I have seen that to clearly see the ceiling and understand where the AP can be mounted, or in tall conventional centers where the ceiling is quite high, this binoculars will really help, and to basically be very essential. So a lot of site survey engineers don't carry this, but trust me, if you're trying to survey a conventional center or a tall warehouse, then yes, you need binoculars. It gives you a clear idea as to where you can mount the APs. And yeah, flashlight. Sometimes in the dark, flashlight comes in very handy, very handy, where you want to mount, where you have to check where the AP can be moved or AP can be mounted, or maybe if you want to understand something around the floor, you want to understand the dynamic dimensions of the floor. In the dark, it kind of gets difficult, so flashlight is also quite essential. The next thing is walkie talkie or a cell phone. So if you are doing an indoor site survey, or let's say a post deployment site survey, and you're walking around in the office, there are users who are already sitting there and working. So you cannot, so you are expected to maintain silence. You cannot be yelling across the room and talk to somebody. It's not recommended. It's not going to happen. So you might want to use a walkie-talkie or a cell phone if you want to communicate with somebody else on the other side of the room. Some organizations, they prefer that you don't carry a cell phone for security reasons. So that's why a walkie-talkie would be very, very helpful. So yes, this is a tool that you have to carry when you are doing an indoor site survey, right? The next thing would be temporary mounting gear. This includes a tripod also. temporary mounting gear for the AP. Carry a tripod and some hooks which you can put on the AP to adjust on the tripod. Something anything about a mounting gear kit, you can do that. You can carry it with you. You can also carry some antennas, both omni and directional. At least carry a couple of them with you when you go over a survey. It helps you in case you need it. It's always good to have it under your sleeves, right? So the other thing is digital camera that you need. Now, why do you need this? When you're doing an AP on a stick and you're trying to identify the location of the AP where you have to mount it, it's always good to click a photograph. Click a photograph. So anybody who's doing a final deployment, click a photograph of the mounted AP. Okay, so the guy who's doing the future or the final deployment should be able to know, okay, this is where the AP was mounted, right? That becomes essential. So digital camera in an AP on a stick survey really helps. Okay, the other thing is the colored electric tape. One electric tape can be used to attach the battery to the tripod. That is one. That's what I used it for the last time I did a survey. Attached the battery back to the tripod. And also, when you mounted the access point on the ceiling, like an AP on a stick, it would be a temporary mounting, when you mounted that on the tripod and raised it to the ceiling. When you remove the access point, just put a small electric tape or a red colored tape or a blue colored tape, small electric tape there, so that the guy who's doing a final deployment would know that, okay, this is where I need to put in the AP. So something like a similar like a digital camera use case, but yeah, this really helps as well. The next thing that you need is, of course, a ladder or a forklift. This is used for if you want to check the strength of the ceiling, where if the ceiling is strong enough to carry an access point. Sometimes the ceilings are weak and the APs are quite heavy, so that you can actually now test and understand. You also might want to move the AP here or there, or if you want to temporarily mount the AP on the ceiling just to check, not on the tripod but on the ceiling, you need a ladder and a forklift for that as well. So keep all these things handy. Of course, you cannot carry a ladder with you from the airport, so you probably have to ask the authorities on site to get you one ladder. But yeah, so these things, the 14 items that I talked about, I usually make sure all of them are available before I go and do a survey. So this is a list of things that you have to keep in mind for you before you go and start a survey. Thank you.